And good morning, Wednesday, April 9th. So basically, I mentioned that short basket order that I did, and everything immediately went in my favor. I had profits at the end of the day, so it looked good. And then I checked like 10 p.m. last night. Asian markets opened, and they opened lower, and I looked at it, and I just closed out all the positions. I had good profits and everything. And, it just happened so quickly. I thought there might be a day or two of pain of, watching markets go against me a little bit for a setup and then a sell off and then it hold a little bit longer. But things went down so quickly, then they followed through in Asia that I realized this isn't a big new move down. This is just more consolidation. Um, I guess really, as I think about it, we've had such wild swings up and down that we really just need it for a couple days. So, you can see here now we're consolidating. That's the daily chart. Um, so pull this up. Let's just do this. But yeah, you can see. So yeah, I had shorted, I think at this level or something, and it came here, and then yeah, it opened. So I think I covered my positions here in general. That's for the stock market. It went up, came down even lower, but anyways. And then this is after I woke up. So I did see this happen. It was down here. But by the time I woke up at 3 a.m., it started ticking higher. And at this point, I'm not really interested in doing a lot with the stock market or the other markets. So, um, crude oil has been the most profitable to short. And that one just barely bounced and just made significant new lows. So I did cover it. I got a really good price covering it, and I reshorted it this morning, and here I am in the money again. Uh, Copper, I ran up a little bit, so I covered it at 410. It went up to 420. I reshorted it, and it went all the way up to 425. So that wasn't fun, but it's back down to 420. So these markets, at least, I don't think copper or crude oil's really got a chance to bounce right now. They look so weak. I mean, they when I say bounce, they bounce a little bit. So I covered copper 410 or something, somewhere around here, and then I reshorted it up here. But yeah, when the weakest markets come up like that, I just figured it's a good chance to reshort it, and they moved in my favor. Um, I made two other trades. I woke up and I just trying to figure out why the euro is hanging in there. But the biggest thing that got me thinking was the move in the bonds, which is like, okay, so we're in crisis mode. So here's this rally in crisis mode. And I'm thinking, I'm looking historically at other crises. If I go back, I say monthly here. You know, so here's coronavirus. You go all the way back to 2009. And you see these, I mean, this is just from where we were, it's just this massive rally during the financial crisis. So, bonds got 73. This is 20 points up in the bonds, in the 30-year bonds. Here you got this coronavirus, 150 to 180, 30 points up in the bonds. And then you get over here at our current crisis. That's it. That's all we got. A couple of points, 5 points. And now it's shooting down. I'm saying to myself, what is going on? And it sort of finally dawned on me, I get it. We're not going to do business with these countries. They're not going to buy our stuff. They're not going to hang on to our bonds and keep buying our bonds. And then you sort of start to realize, you can say, oh, they're taking advantage of us. Uh, they're putting in they're putting tariffs on our imports, but we're not putting tariffs on theirs. But you can only make it worse. And they're doing something for us too. They're buying our investments, buying our bonds, funding us. So, it's tit for tat. You can't just It doesn't matter. Government can only interfere and make things worse, even if somebody's supposedly not playing fair. Um, there's a flip side to everything going on, and the bonds could hardly rally, and now they've just crashed. And of course, they're off that bottom. They say, "Oh, I see what's going on. Chinese aren't going to be buying our bonds anymore." So that's the real story. Is like the market's going down, but the bonds are not shooting up. They're also going down. So if they're going to come in and sell all our stock markets and sell our bonds and get rid of all their investments in our country, we'll feel that too. So it is tit for tat. You can't just blanket say it's unfair for this or that. So I sort of realized that, and I said, "Oh, I see what's going on. They're going to dump the dollar, dump the bonds." So I thought, well, U.S. dollar's going to get crushed. So that's why the euro and the euro hasn't done that well, but the euro has been creeping up. I've tried to buy it and I got skittish. It started moving up and it just this morning it started doing this and then it started doing this and I said, never mind. If you're gonna do this, I'm cool. But if you're gonna do this and then just one red bar down shows you there's not that much buying support and so here we are. I took a small loss on the euro. But the gold one that I bought last night did really well. And that was just sheer luck. That was just okay, well, that's the trade to make. We had these three lows here, but this low didn't make a new low. And on every recovery, it's just been pretty good recovery. So, yeah, I bought this last night and then I sold it. And that turned out to be, I only bought three contracts. And, well, that turned out to be one of the best trades I've made so far. And terms of how much. So yeah, realized P&L. So the shorts last night. So I had tiny positions. So 2,000 in silver, Nasdaq 6,000, stock market 4,000, Russell 2,000, 2,700. Um, this morning I lost 1,000 in the euro. Um, but there's that $20,000 profit in gold. We're just off three contracts. I just rode that overnight. So Australian dollar crude oil, like I said, covered that at the lows. That's been good profits and covered the copper short at 5,000 right now. So that's closed positions. What's open right now? So I've got a $9,000 in crude oil profit from reshorting it. I'm out of the money in copper a little bit. Like I said, it's been running a little bit against me. Coffee did open down, so it's down on the day, but it's not cratering down. It's just sort of it went down, it opened down, it traded down, and it came back a little bit. Um, so sort of look like this. So it did. We did get our open lower, but it's traded back a little bit. But overall, it's going in the right direction. Cocoa hasn't been. Cocoa's moved it, gone up, even though it's a short. That one's just a little bit too speculative, and it probably isn't the greatest trade. Because it really technically hasn't broken this low in this area. Obviously, there's some buyers in here. They've decided 8,000. They're going to buy 8,000. Just of course, just below 8,000, so everyone gets scared when it goes below 8,000, and they buy it. They buy it from the sellers down there. But this really hasn't really broken this low, and so really technically isn't short until it breaks that low. But with this momentum down, I thought at least it's going to have some momentum to the downside, but it hasn't. It bounced off that. So that's not a very good trade, but I also only have one contract in that. So it's keeping an eye on that. So yeah, yeah. So cocoa, I'm down $580 on that one. Coffee. So I don't have real time quotes in coffee or cocoa. That's why when I look at my screen here, all these symbols, and then you can see this D here. This means delayed quotes. coffee, cocoa, cotton, sugar. So, but I am able to look at his website has live quotes. Supposed to be you're supposed to not really be able to get live data without paying the exchanges, but apparently um, they've got they say real time derived. They're saying there's some based on some derivative. They're just estimating based on some derivatives they're watching. Okay, so this isn't good. So it was down 5, but it's bounced up to 337. So it's moving in the wrong direction at the moment. So, we're short at, 344, I think. So we're short at this level. So we got our sell off in the morning, but you can see it coming all the way back. So, but that's sort of the grind if you're going to be in something a little bit longer term. And I'm sort of trading off a longer term formation, but right now this doesn't look like there's obviously, and I think seasonal buying continues in coffee for another month. So obviously there's just buyers in there, but that's what's going on with coffee. Moving in the wrong direction, but at least we're in the money, and long term we're moving in the right direction. But just expecting when it breaks those major lows like it has to have a little more volume down, but it hasn't. So yeah, I'm doing the same thing. This website with Coco. So gapped lower, but then it just traded up since then. Um, but yeah, looking a little bit long term, here's an hourly chart. So we're still moving in the right direction, but we're at this major support level that's been going on for a long time. I was trying to buy it here and I missed this trade and was disappointed, but it came right back down here. So, anyways, I thought more speculative money would come out from it, but this one actually should be coming into seasonal lows. It should be selling off, but it's not. So, anyways, a couple good trades. Things got a little bit lucky, I think, with that basket trade, just to go directly in my favor. And then, like I said, markets, if they set up for a minute and people are confused and what's going on, maybe it's trading up, and then it sells off, you usually get a bit more follow through. But right now with the markets, it's just it is not really what's going on. This only took, so this rally here, I guess, took almost 2 days. Um, you know, we're also, I mean, keep in mind we've come down a long way. So the fear is out, the message is out. Everyone in the world now believes we're going down. So that means they've already sold or they're short. At least the people that want to believe that. So that's why probably a temporary bottom's coming. So this was just sort of a lucky. Made a little bit here in this bar on the news event, but it really didn't trade much to the upside. Actually, this was the other trade I think I bought here that Monday morning and traded up to here. So I made a little piece here, made a little piece on this big bar. So just two tiny pieces, but with smaller position, but I was able to catch most of this move down. So lucky on that one. And then yeah, so we rallied off that bottom, and now we're sort of walking around. My guess is we chop it a little bit higher, um, but for now, but it's again another consolidation day. I thought yesterday and this morning would be more consolidation days, but things moved in my favor a little better. So, anyways, and here's crude oil. So it broke that low, but look, this is more chop than I like to see for a market that's going down. So if we go back, this is more looks like a true sell-off here. Whereas now we're doing this choppy. That means that, when it's a little bit more choppy, that just means we're probably near a bottom and it does this sort of stuff off the bottom. So it's still pretty weak, but probably it's looking a little bit more like it might maybe out of cover right now at this low. But I gotta, with the way the markets are right now, I want to at least try to stay short a couple of things, just the weakest things of all. Um, just so they're not doing great. I mean, I'm down 5 grand in copper right now. I'm up 7 grand in crude oil, so it's a little bit of a positive tone. This is sort of what I was expecting with based on the trades I made yesterday. It was sort of a mixed bag, um, but that's probably what I'm gonna end up now. In fact, crude oil's down. It might move up all day now. I may put this bottom in. We might have put temporary bottoms in, so uh, doesn't look promising. But anyways, we're short 5 copper. Normal position would be 15. I think. In crude oil, the same. I think normal position is about 15. We're short 10, so we got a pretty good big position in copper in crude oil, and it's doing the best, but it's the weakest, and because it's been the weakest, I shorted it. But when crude oil turns around, if it does, sometimes it can go pretty quick. So I'm gonna just try to keep an eye and just try to not take too big of losses and sort of expect that we're further into this downtrend, we're further into this sell-off, and expecting that those will be the leaders to the downside. And so it's probably better to keep a decent sized position on a couple of those and then just sort of see what happens in the other market. So that's where we're at. So signing out.